Jimmy, something happened. The lock, my phone just died. I'm trapped. Okay, don't get desperate now, Buddymeister. You can survive this. Adventure is not what happens out there, they said. It's what happens in here, they said. The brave survive, the weak they die. Jimmy! Oh, Jimmy!
What? Explanation. Why did you call me and what happened to you?
I was trapped.
You're the Panicmeister, that is what you are. This is my apartment. I was in the kitchen. What's the matter with you?
I was trapped.
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage.
And I'm Deniz, the Buddymeister.
And it's our ongoing pleasure to review one Indian movie each week. And since we're in the middle of Halloween season, our picks for October will be all coming from the realm of horror or thrillers.
And this one's actually not a horror movie, as you'd probably expect for Halloween, but rather a great little genre movie.
It is. We were discussing if it really fit for Halloween, but you know what? Halloween's not all about horror, it's about all kinds of genre movies, tension, thrills and nail-biting edge-of-your-seat moments. And Trapped fits that very well.
Trapped is a 2016 Hindi-language survival drama that was written by Amit Joshi and Hardik Mehta and directed by Vikramaditya Motwane. It stars Rajkumar Rao as Shaurya, a call center employee who gets trapped in his apartment room without food, water or electricity.
And that happens at about 20 minutes into the movie. The door closes and Rao's one-man show begins. Before that we actually are in pretty loose, funny and romantic territory because Shaurya dates a co-worker named Noori and convinces her that they should get married. He promises to find an apartment for them and after his first night in that new apartment, the horror begins.
I said it a few minutes ago, but I say it again. What a great little genre movie. I loved it.
I liked it very much too.
I'm just a sucker for those survival movies where people are alone in a very specific environment and must find a way out of this horrific situation. Castaway on the moon, All is Lost, The Martian to a degree, you know, that kind of stuff.
The great thing about movies like that is that you get all the emotions that a human being is comprised of, and with that you almost always get a great performance out of the actor. And Rajkumar Rao is no exception.
He does a terrific job, and the thing you said with the emotions, I think especially in an environment like the one where he is trapped in, it makes it so easy to put yourself in that situation. And when you watch the movie, you're actually thinking about options and possibilities to get the hell out of there.
The location is great. We have this apartment tower with hundreds of apartments, this stony balcony with a narrow bars, and of course nothing is finished in this apartment, because the tower is not completed yet. So Shaurya is in the midst of Mumbai, in the midst of an apartment tower, but he's actually in the midst of nowhere.
And let me get something straight here. I read of people complaining that it's impossible that no one would notice him up there, especially when he's making a fire. But come on, how often do you really look up in general when you're walking through a city and with all that noise and all kinds of stuff happening everywhere? It would really be a great coincidence if someone would notice that.
And it of course serves the story and also the theme, but we will talk about that later. He probably could have thrown everything from the balcony, maybe someone would have noticed that, but it's a movie and in my mind it's realistic enough to work. Movies like that always make an easy target for nitpickers, and I do understand that you are either on board or you are not.
And the building actually had a kind of superstructure, an overhang. You can see it when he throws a TV off the balcony, so nothing actually lands on the ground floor. I thought the writers did a good job in making this a realistic situation. They found a way to explain everything.
Maybe he could have worked a little bit more on the door of the apartment, but hey, I didn't mind it at all, because as it is, the movie is really gripping.
There are many thrilling scenes and you can feel Shaurya's desperation as he's grasping at straws, how he comes up with stuff, and you can also feel The relief and happiness when it starts to rain, for example.
That's a great scene. He gains hope again and you can really feel that. It's also interesting how things and ideas are increasing and escalating with time. But we don't want to talk about every little detail here. You should watch the movie.
It's a slick 100-minute movie. Not too long, not too short.
It is. I think in the middle part it's dragging a little bit because you kinda know the inner workings of survival movies such like this and you know what it probably will come down to, but it's not boring or anything like that. I think to make things more interesting, you could have introduced and incorporated his connection with the rat a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I can see that. I wish the two of them would have spent more time together.
And you know what? This strange CGI sequence with the guy from the TV show is slightly off-putting as well.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, but it's so short it just doesn't matter. And I guess they had to implement some kind of crazy factor because Sharia had no food and not that much to drink. He's getting mad, you know? I mean, he's hunting birds in his own apartment.
True, but I want to get back to the middle part one more time. What I wanted to say earlier is that maybe what the movie altogether needed more of is scenes like the one with the rain. More emotion, and not the emotion that you mentioned at the beginning, meaning the emotion that Sharia expresses on the surface level, but rather more emotion for us viewers. Sure, we are able to identify ourselves with the situation and we can feel some of it, but I just wanted more, especially when Sharia simply doesn't know what to do next.
Maybe some more scenes where you can see inside him, like the one where he's dreaming about being in a railway with sweaty men.
Yeah, exactly. Just some scenes where he's alone with his mind, his thoughts. The music actually played a big part in bringing some of this across because it has this tragic but also romantic feel to it that fits his dilemma perfectly.
The music left an impression with me too, especially the trapped theme. The strings, the piano, a wonderful little melody that expresses exactly what you just said. It not only fits his dilemma, but also the ending, which we're not going to talk about.
I like that we don't get an overstated, happy-go-lucky ending, but rather a thoughtful and bittersweet one.
Now, let's talk about some of the underlying themes. Vikramaditya Motwane said in an interview that he was attracted by the film's theme of urban loneliness. Sharia is an immigrant in the city and has an anonymous job. He is a loner with no friend or family to come looking for him if he goes missing.
Loneliness in a big city, loneliness in society. No one cares for each other, everyone just apathetic. Just like in the scene where Sharia leaves his shared apartment, his roommates just don't give a shit.
No, they don't. And through that gripping thriller, Motwane also expresses something about the human condition, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Well, that's pretty much it with Trapped, isn't it? I'd recommend watching this little gem.
No objections.
So, what would we say in German?
Trapped ist ein toll gespielter, packender, kleiner Genrefilm, der das Rad nicht neu erfindet, aber genug Charme und Ideenreichtum versprüht, um den Zuschauer unter Spannung zu halten. I give Trapped 7 out of 10. It's more like 7.3, but I don't do that.
For me, it's 8 out of 10. It's more like 7.9, but I don't do that either. Man, if I'd ever get trapped like that, I'd exactly know what to do. No problem.
Yeah, right. Anyway, that was Trapped, our first Indian movie review of this year's Halloween month.
Another 3 Indian movies will follow in the next weeks. Horror, fantasy, sci-fi, a little bit of everything. But Jimmy, you're also reviewing a whole lot of other movies, so you people should watch these videos too.
Well, thanks. Until then, you can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd simply at TheJimmyCage.
And you can hit me up on Twitter at the Buddymeister.
And as always, if you enjoyed this review, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all we have to tell.